Opposition also needs to play its role. It's not opposition, it's counterpart. The two aisles or the two sides in parliament present two different perspectives, and it all needs to collectively work in harmony or in tandem for the betterment of Bharat. He also said technology was misused. But more importantly, he has said that a sevak is never arrogant. So some lessons there, some dressing down quietly. First time the RSS Sarsang Chalak Mohan Bhagwat speaking right through the elections and also on Manipur. Smita Prakash, Dr. Ranganathan with us, and we have Desh Ratan Nigam joining us here on this course in this leg. So how would you read this, Smita Prakash? Would you read it as a caution, or is it just pure plain speak?
Would have a better perspective. Yeah, Mr. Nigam will have a better perspective on this, but as far as I can read it, coming soon after the election results, he's like a Guruji speaking to his flock. And when he said, things like Virodhi Paksh nahi kehna chahiye, Pratipaksh nahi, Pratipaksh kehna chahiye, wo Virodhi nahi hai, not an opponent, and then you have to see about that they should operate in this decorum should be there, and they are contesting elections, like it's the country that should be in focus. These are all larger issues. When you actually get down to elections, it is a dirty game. You play with all the weapons which are there in your arsenal, and the niceties of Desh and of the larger picture that really has to take a back seat. To say that jhoot nahi bolna chahiye. He said one should not use untruths, and people have been elected to run the country through consensus. All this is all genteel talk. When you actually get down to elections, do you think that untruths did not work? I mean, the kind of disinformation, misinformation, fake news, AI generated fake videos, the amount that we have seen in 2024, I don't think we have seen in earlier elections. That is a fact. Maybe it's an international trend, but the thing is that it has been one of the most divisive elections in our recent memory. So this thing about that we have to walk together and all, it's a good thing. It's a calming thing that probably the BJP also needs, and maybe even the opposition who don't believe in the RSS ideology. It's good talk even for them, that it's time that we unite and we take away these divisive tendencies which we allowed to rise to such an extent that it was filthy, this election, if I may say that. So if we can set aside differences, that would be the greatest thing. If we can build consensus, really nice, but let's do a reality check that when the parliament opens, there's going to be hardly any consensus. There's a lot of muscle.
Yeah, but he's also hinting at the wedge that's been drawn in such a way that one is going after the other, one is going after the other's throat. But what puts perspective to what the Sarsang Chalak said last evening is Ratan Shardaji's article in The Organizer, and that made a lot of people read many things between the lines, and it also brought to the fore what was being whispered in the corridors throughout the election, saying where is the RSS in this election, where is the Sangh, and then Mr. Nadda's comment also did not add. It actually said कि हम बिना RSS के सक्षम हैं. That kind of perhaps did it rankle Desh Ratan Nigam? Is it true that the RSS is now coming back and telling the people, don't get on a high horse? Stay grounded.
Anand, in fact, RSS never involves itself actively in the elections. That's one of their policy at the organization level. Yes, their Swayamsevaks have their voting rights, they have their political preferences, and overwhelmingly, I can say that they do favor BJP. So that's not a secret. And therefore, Mohan Bhagwat did not speak during the elections or before the elections. He spoke after the elections. And when the unnecessarily RSS names was being dragged by all the parties, trying to put, blames on the RSS or otherwise, where the RSS does not actively, we were involved in Ram Mandir, there is no doubt about it. It was openly, we canvassed for it, we fought for it, and Swayamsevaks were leading that particular movement. So till that end, it was okay and all right. However, Bhagwat have also said that politics is very competitive. politics is all about competition. You try to pull down each other, which is all right. But based on fake news, it should never be, because so many things were said in these elections, as Smita Prakash ji has pointed out. And those were the things that one has to avoid. But elections are over now. We have a mandate today, but that mandate is not of that of absolute majority to the BJP. So we need to, be very careful as of now, because the country needs to be run, and it has to be that the goal of being Viksit Bharat by 2047 has to be realized. There are broad policies and parameters to which I don't think any political party will try to oppose. Nobody can say that they don't want a Viksit Bharat. Nobody can say they don't want peace and harmony in the country, which we call Samajik Samrasta. So all these points have been highlighted. And also, one very important fact, he said that during last 1,000 years, we have had ideologies coming from the West and saying that their way is the best. So he does not approve of that. He says all religions are same, and we must look at the essence of those religions rather than, try to have one-upmanship that I am the best and you are nothing, you are absolutely nothing. And therefore, there is no need of conversion in this country. So keep following your religion and look at the essence, what is there. Yes, that debate must go on. We must threadbare discuss. The religious debate must go on. Nobody is saying one should shy away from those debates, because it is then the universal principles will emerge in India. Because we have a very diverse country, and that diversity has given that kind of a strength. Diversity in the unity. We don't say unity in diversity, diversity in the unity. The substratum is united, and you find the
But Deshrata Nigam ji, you would also admit that ahankar, if comes in the way, then what happens is that the collective goal gets lost, because then it becomes a matter of personal egos and setting personal scores. And did that manifest in this election, and did that hurt the cause of those who wanted to create a larger narrative of Viksit Bharat? Did those very people who actually needed the support think that they don't need and they can stand on their own, and then they find themselves hobbling and on one leg? That's the question. Dr. Ranganathan, before I come back to Dr. Nigam. Deshrata Nigam, sorry. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan.
No, Anand, I think this is a welcome step by Dr. Bhagwat. My only limited criticism is that, we might have landed on the moon, gone near Mars, but why did it take 1 year to say what he said? And he said things that were correct. मतलब कोई network problem थी, हमारा वाला ही 3G, 4G use कर रहे थे. Look, couple of points out here. I've always said this before, and I say it again, while politicking over horrendous crimes against women must end. What happened in Manipur was blood-curdling. The criminals should have been punished. It was unacceptable that one of the perpetrators wasn't arrested for 2 months but was caught within a day of the video going viral. Heads should have rolled for this, but none have. Still, state and police inaction must be condemned wherever it happens, in every state by every police. But this was never the case. Now, what is the truth about Manipur? I think Dr. Bhagwat should have also clarified this. Yes, I have said before, Modi should have spoken on Manipur right when the violence started. He probably should have gone there as well. But then so should have the Congress also come clean. Did you know it was the UPA in 2013 that asked the Manipur Congress government to look into the demand for ST status for the Mathis, who had been demanding it since independence? The Congress did not act. Governments changed both at the center and state, and both did not act. Now the High Court asked the government to act 1.5 years ago, and this was what led to all the violence. The true tribes were at loggerheads, but of course it was BJP's fault. And what happened 3 months ago? The High Court redacted its demand to look into the status of ST for Meithis, and everything is hunky-dory back to this thing. So please let us not peddle half-truths. It was not just the BJP's fault alone. The problem is that BJP has to carry the burden. But I do admit that Mr. Modi, somebody in his communication department fluffed up. He should have spoken about it. I think he still hasn't, or he did during the parliament debate, but he should have spoken about it immediately.
But the issue of Manipur being highlighted is not because that there is... See, now you're saying the High Court has already redacted, but who is acting now with beheadings in Jiribam, with the kind of attacks at Biren Singh? So there is an attempt to try and desperately fuel a certain level of rift and kind of strife, and also continue to pinprick. But whoever is got holding the pin needs to be first identified and ensured that the pin is taken away from them, or those people are removed itself. That is an internal security issue, which is a challenge. But the larger question is, has this all been spoken, Deshrata Nigam, at a time to say, listen, We've got to work together. Don't think you can do it without us, because we never thought we can do it without you.
Well, Anand, in fact, let me answer what you said previously when I finished my statement. I've always maintained arrogance is a prerogative of the opposition, not the one who are in power. They have to be humble with full humility. That is, an Indian culture respects humbleness and humility. That is how we have grown, and that is how we have seen the system growing up. And therefore, that's very important aspect which Bhagwat ji has said. Secondly, see, RSS is not like, supporting a structure for BJP. Please remember that. They have stood on their own. Yes, this time the results were not as they expected, probably because of better opposition strategies or whatever decisions the BJP has taken, but it has nothing to do with RSS. Their decision-making process is separate, and therefore they do not need our support. We do not get actively involved in the politics. Yes, as I said, overwhelmingly Swayam Sevaks, since they have the voting rights, do choose BJP, but I have seen Swayam Sevaks
here is the big role the RSS plays. The RSS plays a big role in social engineering. It plays a big role in Samajik Samrastha. So one of the aspects of Samvidhan Badal Denge was the RSS getting involved and trying to dispel this kind of a new, fakery that was being peddled on ground, Smita Prakash. Had that happened, would the results have been different? Does that not only show that there is a difference between taking selfies and also going to the house and having a cup of tea and having a chat? That's the big difference.
There were many mistakes, and I think when we do post-mortem on television, we are unfair because we need a few seconds to explain it, or maybe a minute if you're kind to me. But with humility, I say to Dr. Nigam, and to the RSS, be humble, there should be humility. Even Ratan Sharda talked about it, that arrogance nahi hona chahiye, humility honi chahiye. I think he was talking about the spokespersons. Yes, granted, all that, humility sab chahiye. But sir, if I may say with humility, that during elections, you need the Shakta spirit to come out. You have to fight. And for fighting, you have to have that aggressive quality in you. Yes, it is disrupting. I get that. But when your opponent is using every weapon in that arsenal, then to show humility is cowardice. In my opinion, that is what I feel.
That's what Deshratan Nigam also said, that the aggression has to be shown in the fight, but not with your own people who are going to stand shoulder to shoulder with you. The aggression has to be shown, and the might has to be shown to the other side, not to those who are going to stand shoulder to shoulder with you and who are going to help you in this fight. That's the point everybody is trying to make. To who we have to wait and watch, but
this,
clearly
Anand,
there are some lessons.
To you in there the are show, some lessons. That this.
We've got to take a break because they got another story coming up, very interesting and very good one there. So I'm going to request Dr. Ranganathan and Smita Prakash to stay on with us. Deshratan Nigam, thank you very much. We'll see you after the break. It's Kamran Akmal's comment. He's apologized.